Good morning. There's your sunrise. Well, at least it's on its way anyway. I had a viewer post something in the comments with the phrase magnifying mind. I knew I'd heard it somewhere before, but I just couldn't figure it out. And then I found it. Of all places, in the big book.
Acceptance has been the answer to my marital problems. It's as though AA had given me a new pair of glasses. Max and I have been married now for 35 years. Prior to our marriage, when she was a shy, scrawny adolescent, I was able to see things in her that others couldn't necessarily see. Things like beauty, charm, gaiety, a gift for being easy to talk to, a sense of humor, and many other fine qualities. It was as if I had, rather than a Midas touch which turned everything to gold, a magnifying mind that magnified whatever it focused on. Over the years, as I thought about Max, her good qualities grew and grew, and we married. And all these qualities became more and more apparent to me, and we were happier and happier. But then as I drank more and more, the alcohol seemed to affect my vision. Instead of continuing to see what was good about my wife, I began to see her defects. And the more I focused my mind on her defects, the more they grew and multiplied. Every defect I pointed out to her became greater and greater. Each time I told her she was a nothing, she receded a little more into nowhere. The more I drank, the more she wilted. Then one day in AA, I was told that I had the lenses in my glasses backwards. The courage to change in the Serenity Prayer meant not that I should change my marriage, but rather I should change myself and learn to accept my spouse as she was. AA has given me a new pair of glasses. I can again focus on my wife's good qualities and watch them grow and grow and grow. I must keep my magic magnifying mind on my acceptance and off my expectations. For my serenity is directly proportional to my level of acceptance. When I remember this, I can see I've never had it so good. Thank God for AA.
The part on page 417 where it talks about acceptance being the answer to all my problems today comes from the exact same story. And what he called it was a magical magnifying mind. He was talking about it with his marriage and how when they were first getting together, he was getting to know her and all of that. He could see things in her that other people couldn't see. He had the magnifying mind, or magical magnifying mind, even before they were married. He was using it in a positive way. He was looking for those positive things about her. And so he was able to see all the wonderful things about her that other people could not see. I guess through time and drinking, of course, it changed up on him a little. That magnifying mind began to focus on the negative. It's funny, I've talked about this before, about being intentional. Intentionally focusing on those positive things in life rather than the negative. You know, we have that magnifying mind and it can either be our friend or an enemy. And I would, of course, prefer it to be a friend. I'd rather see the positive be magnified than the negative. When I focus on the problem, it gets bigger. But when I focus on the solution, it gets bigger. That's similar to the magnifying mind. Wherever I put my focus, we focus on that negative stuff, and guess what? Our lives become negative. And I guess that's why gratitude is so important, because it keeps me positive. it keeps me thinking about all the good stuff in my life instead of all the bad stuff, you know? I saw a post online the other day that I liked. It said, happy people focus on what they have, and sad people focus on what's missing. I think that's what gratitude's all about. It's focusing on what I have and not so much on what's missing. My viewer, the one that made that comment, got me to thinking about this video and how to put this together. She wanted to know, how would she maintain that positive attitude and keep it going, you know, through thick and thin. It's funny how things come up, because I am a very positive person. I'm very upbeat. You know, very seldom will you see me in a bad mood. But the last few days, and I think it has to do with, you know, me considering this, you know, how do you keep, you know, in a good mood? But the last few days have been very difficult for me. I have a family member who has taken ill. And it's not just any family member. It's my sister, and she's probably, there's no one that I'm closer to in this world than my sister, and I'm grateful for that. We've had a wonderful relationship through our lives, and it's actually grown in the last few years. But with her taking ill like that, it's been difficult in a lot of different ways, but mainly it's staying positive that has been a chore. The timing on that is actually perfect because of my desire to put together a video on how do you stay positive. And then I get thrown a couple curveballs, you know. So I will answer it as I learn the answer, because the main thing is, I think, for me, I have to be intentional about it. I have to recognize that I'm focusing on the negative and snap out of it. Like in the story, put some different lenses in those glasses or turn them around or whatever it was that he had to do. As soon as I see it going into a negative tone, my thoughts, my vision, it's up to me to be intentional about it and do something about it. Change it. Don't allow it to remain and grow and magnify. When I magnify my blessings, guess what happens? I become grateful and the blessings multiply. But when I magnify the things in my life that are negative, it just gets bigger. So that magnifying mind is something that does require our attention. It's not something that can just happen. I guess that magnifying mind, that magical magnifying mind, is something that's going to take maybe more than one video, especially since I'm not a teacher, I'm a sharer. I share what I know, I share what has worked for me, and I certainly don't have all the answers. I'm just another bozo on the bus. As I learn, I will share what I've learned. And that's how recovery works. But I know that I have to be intentional. I have to be aware of my negative feelings about something and how it can make it worse. And I think it was perfect in that story, the way that he related it to his marriage. You know, I've been married a couple times, and I know that, you know, it doesn't matter who it is. Nobody's perfect. And people can do things that just kind of get on your nerves. And if you're constantly watching for that one thing that they do that's always getting on your nerves, it's going to be a real issue because you're focusing on it. You're focusing on that one thing, and that's what's causing all the problems. It's causing your thoughts to go negative about that person, and that's no way to save a marriage. I know I was certainly guilty of that when I was married. That magnifying mind can ruin a relationship if you let it. Think of it this way. If you're writing a resume, you're going to magnify all the good things about yourself in that resume. You're not going to focus on the negative stuff about you. That's certainly not in a resume. Maybe call it a resume mindset. I've done a few resumes in my day, and there's like buzzwords like implemented, accomplished, things that make you sound good, And if I focus my thoughts with that resume mindset rather than focusing on the bad stuff, the negative, it just keeps me in a better place. I have so much to be grateful for, and it would be a shame. It would just be a shame to not focus on those positive things in my life that I have to be grateful for. So for right now, I'm being mindful about my attitude and trying to maintain that resume mindset. We'll see how that works.